6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
And welcome back to another edition of the Vegas Scores podcast. We are back with our football show after a 2-week hiatus. We were a little busy celebrating a wedding, but we're back, and it's week 6 in the NFL. We've got Token Tony back after – it's unfortunate that we did take a hiatus because you're on fire, kid.
I know, yeah. But that's also good for the fade
people who would fade you, yeah. I know.
So yeah. It's a good thing that for them – we haven't been on, so.
Yeah, I know Spike is taking a nice little vacation out of town with his lovely wife, so hopefully they're enjoying that. He is in a place devoid of Wi-Fi and cellular service.
And hopefully he takes a vacation with his picks this week.
Yeah, let's hope he takes a bath on his picks because he and I will get to it, but we're on opposite sides of a few picks this week. Tony Johnson also a little under the weather at this point, so he is not joining us as well, but we do have their picks. This week we will give you at the end. And we have a guest picker a la college game day style this year from 12 Ounce Sports. Mike said it first. It's Michael Caravalis. Mike, are you ready to put your gambling skills to the test this week?
This year I've been getting into more of that, so I'm super excited to be on this show. Can't wait.
Good. Well, we are happy to have you. We love anybody who wants to come on and degenerate with us. So before we get started with talking about these games, let's recap the points right now. Out of a possible total 25 points, Spike has 15, Token has 14, Tony Johnson has 9, and I'm just here for my participation trophy.
You're bringing up the rear.
I have not brought up the rear in this contest in 2 years until this year. So I have 7 points. I'm 7 and 18. So I'm the fade the fuck out of me at this point. That should be the new hashtag.
You're pulling the Spike philosophy.
Yeah, but what do they say? What's the new trend in sports when a guy gets hurt? It's minor setback, major comeback. That's what I'm feeling. So that's what's going to come down.
I mean,
just blame the virus.
Yeah. There you go.
5 weeks into the season, there's still 11 weeks left, or 12 weeks left, hopefully. And
yeah, if we get to week 10 and the season gets canceled, remember that week 10 constitutes an actual season or actual bet at this point. So,
according to our bylaws.
Mike, so you are all over 12 Ounce Sports. You're the headlines guy. You've got shows, 3 times a week, 2 times a week now? I know you've changed it up a little bit. Yeah, twice a week. Why don't you give us and the listeners and the watchers a little background of you?
So I'm actually coming up a year on my return to 12 Ounce Sports. I've been there since they were 12 Ounce Sports Radio. So this is kind of awesome to be in front of a camera all the time now. Mm-hmm. I love the drive that we've got. A lot of good shows like yourself. My show is Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern and Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. So I'll have another show Sunday before this one airs.
That's true, yeah. You'll be sandwiched in between our Saturday night show and our Sunday morning show.
Yep.
Right, and my takes are never popular, i.e. Daniel Jones is better than Dwayne Haskins. So
well, you're looking right on that point right now, so that's
thank you. I've always got some crazy takes, so beware, but I love being any part of 12 Sports because I think we got a lot of good guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, catch Mike said it first. Again, Tuesday nights and Sunday mornings. He's got the hot takes, but so far, like you said, Daniel Jones is looking to be right. So let's thank the other sponsors here before we get into it. Obviously, the aforementioned 12 Ounce Sports Network, where we are broadcasted in both audio and video formats. Check out all the shows, including Mike said it first, at 12ozsportsnetwork.com. While you're there, make sure you check out the 12 Ounce store, everything from golf polos, coffee mugs, beach towels. Visit 12ozsportsnetwork.com today. Obviously, our golf sponsor, our title golf sponsor, Vice Golf, but we like to mention them in the podcast for the football. Vice Golf has been rapidly changing the game. It's very simple. They make great quality golf balls, sell them over the internet, cut the middleman, and you get a great price directly shipped to you. They're as good as anything out there, a lot less expensive. We have a special promotional link on our sponsors page. Please use that and support us because we get a little bit of a commission from that, keeps us running and keeps Vice Golf, obviously, in our good graces. And last but not least, our title sponsors, fanatics.com. Again, support us with our affiliate link. You know, they are the go-to for sports gear in you or your fans' life. If you need new gear, throwbacks, anything, they've got you covered. Again, go to lvsquares.com, click the sponsors page, check it out. Please use our promotional link when you shop there. Christmas is coming up, so you're going to have to get a lot of sports gear for those fans in your life. So again, lvsquares.com, click the promotional link for Fanatics. And of course, Zingo TV, where we are airing now if you're watching us on there. If you don't have Zingo TV and you're watching this or listening to this on a different platform, please download the Zingo TV app from your phone or your smart TV. Sign up for a free account with the promo code 120Z. And it is 100% free to you, and you can watch us and all the rest of the shows on channel 761. All right, we're going to have other sponsors scrolling through the bottom of the screen. You can catch those. Please support them. We'll talk about them also at the end of the show as well. So let's get into it. We've got football, and we've got week 6, and we haven't been around for 2 weeks, so I'm itching to get back into this. Initial thoughts so far through 5 weeks before we start breaking down games, Toby?
So far, pretty good with the picks. Kind of worrisome how good I started off the gate, and it's probably going to come crumbling to collapse soon. So,
yeah, Mike, what are your thoughts?
Fade token alerts and goal lights are going off.
You know what? Just have confidence that the fade token is not going to be a hashtag this year. So, Mike, what do you think about the first 5 weeks?
But
shout out Le'Veon Bell. I know you're probably going to get to that later, but I've actually had a pretty decent first 5 weeks. I do straight up picks on my show. Been a pretty decent 5 weeks. Couple of surprises, i.e. week 1 Colts Jaguars was a terrible thing for me, but just a lot of good competition so far. A lot of surprises. And I've been loving the weeks, but I got to get my picks right, especially with Vegas.
Yeah, I gotta say. My takeaway from 5 weeks is that COVID, while it's starting to kind of wreck the scheduling, you can definitely tell it wrecked conditioning, and the lack of preseason was huge too. So I think that is the big killer really with the COVID situation we have. So let's hope we get through a season, or if I'm in last place, let's hope we only get through 9 weeks, because once it hits week 10, I officially am out 100 change to you guys, whoever ends up winning, because I need to get it turned around. So let's start right now with Chicago at Carolina. The upstart 3-2 Carolina Panthers with Teddy Bridgewater and Mike Davis, everybody's first round fantasy pick. Mike, oh no, that was Christian McCaffrey. They are a 1.5 point favorite at home against the Chicago Bears, who are coming off that TNF win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where it was handshake gate. And yes, Tom Brady did forget allegedly what down it was. He said he didn't, but who cares at this point? Can Tom Brady really do anything wrong at this point to tarnish his legacy? I know that I'm probably have to take myself out of this question, but can Tom Brady do anything wrong short of going 0-16 to really tarnish a legacy?
No, definitely not, in my opinion. I mean, so much he's produced and put up, not just during the regular season, but during the postseason. I mean, it would have to be like something Pete Rose-esque to destroy his legacy.
Well, then again, he's already cheated before, and that has not tarnished his legacy. So, no, nothing can tarnish his legacy. He's got a lot of fans.
All right, well, at some point, I think he's going to have to beat Nick Foles, and Teddy Bridgewater might be the guy to do that this week. Carolina, 1.5 point favorites. The total is 44.5. I think this is a case where a lot of people were considering betting. I think, Mike, you were one of them when we did the gambling show, considering betting Carolina for the worst record in the National Football League this year. I mean, the season's young; it's only week 5, but they are 3-2, and the offense looks like it has life despite Christian McCaffrey being out. And if they can get him back in a few weeks, the NFC South might be up for grabs here in a couple of weeks. But what do we think of this game, this matchup right here? Nick Foles, Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina, and Chicago. Token, I'll let you start.
It's going to be interesting how Carolina, with the run game as well as Bridgewater, controls the offense against the Chicago defense. Very good front four for Chicago, and their secondary is not a slouch either. So, I mean, very good coached as well, in my opinion, Chicago team. But they might be a little hyped up coming into this game. Mike Davis might find a few holes, and definitely probably one of the more interesting morning ones to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have had more time off than the Panthers have. But again, I don't think a lot of people, including yourself, Mike, expected this out of the Panthers. And the Bears, really, their 4 victories are by a total of 13 points.
Yeah, so I've said on my show that Chicago is not a good 4-1 team. With Nick Foles, like, let's just forget the Trubisky games. They've surprised the Falcons by replacing Trubisky, so that doesn't count. They beat my Colts, who have overrated an old Phillip Rivers, and they beat 43-year-old Tom Brady, who forgot the down.
Didn't they lose to the Colts?
No, they beat us.
Yeah, you're thinking of Minnesota.
I thought the Colts lost to the Bears, but I could be wrong. Go ahead.
Well, you can look at that. While you're looking that up, I will say this: Matt Rule.
You know I am.
Right, Matt Rule has not only Carolina outperforming, but it's incredible that they not only is he have them outperforming, but like you said, they did lose Christian McCaffrey. So I genuinely believe he is the better coach in this matchup. I don't care if he's in his first year.
It's crazy. What is it about Matt Rule that just fucking riles the troops?
He takes Baylor, the Title IX school, the most recent Title IX school, has them playing well. And I'm sorry, Matt Nagy almost gave Tom Brady that game, so I will trust Matt Rule in this game, by the way.
And the fact checkers are in. Indianapolis was victorious 19-11 in that game against the Bears.
Sad.
It's a win. You know what? I don't, no disrespect to what you just said about the 4-1 team, but it's hard to imagine there's a bad 4-1 team. You're 4-1, you know? I mean, things could go tumbling down and you may be exposed, but you play who's on your schedule. I mean, you're right. Having to come back against Detroit probably should have lost that game, Token. Mitch Trubisky should I mean, you can argue, really, how much wrong did Mitch Trubisky do to lose his job? But Nick Foles is a proven winner. Yeah, it's tough. So this is an interesting game. I feel like, Token, I think to use a cliche of yours, this one really could fly either way. I think Chicago has the defense to really stifle Bridgewater in this one. But it's going to be an interesting one. Teddy Bridgewater's playing high. It's I don't know what you're doing.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Oh, okay. Okay. But Mike Davis has been, fantasy-wise, at least in my fantasy league, I ended up grabbing him on the waiver wire, and he's been pretty comparable to Christian McCaffrey's fantasy stats, which is hard to do. Let's just put it that way. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think, Token, I think you're right. I think that might be one of the interesting ones to watch. It definitely is more interesting than Detroit versus Jacksonville.
Yes.
Detroit getting back on the wagon here. Jacksonville had that opening win against the Colts that everybody probably lost 75% or more of their survivor pools in. But yes. Detroit is going down to J-Town as a 3-point favorite at the Westgate here. Remember, all of our lines are Westgate Superbook at the time we record. So the total is 54.5 in this spot. Detroit versus Jacksonville, Token. I mean, at this point, Detroit is in a division that's incredibly tough. We just talked about the 4-1 Bears. The Packers are on fire. I believe they are, 5-4. They're also 4-0. I think they just had a bye, right? I believe they are 4-0 as well.
Yes.
They also who do they play? They should have beat the Bears. They're in a tough spot here, but I don't think they can afford to. They're at 1-3. They cannot afford to lose the next 2 games, Jacksonville and Atlanta. No. But you know, this is a spot where Detroit's going to Detroit, right? Isn't that how that goes?
That's exactly what I was thinking, and yeah, and I mean, the only reason why I think this line is Detroit favored by 3 is Jacksonville's defense is the worst in the league right now.
Yeah, they are surprisingly pretty bad. I know they've punted off a bunch of stars, but
the only good thing they have going for them is the red zone defense is ranked 10th. And that's the only
field shorter.
Yeah, that's the only good defense that they have right now. So they have a pretty solid front four with some Swiss cheese holes, in my opinion, in it. And
Are you
yeah,
speechless?
I'm more speechless that Detroit's favored by 3. I'm not uncertain that they should be favored, but
Yeah,
by 3 is
at
kind of
least
surprising. I was thinking it should be like the Carolina about 1.5 points.
yeah, it leads me to believe, Mike, that on a neutral field, we're talking about a team in Detroit that should be giving someone 6 points. I don't buy it.
I didn't touch this game with my 5 picks in the end, but I like Minshew. But the only reason I like Detroit is because I trust Matthew Stafford more. I don't know what that's saying. For someone who grew up a Georgia fan and grew to hate him.
Grew up a
This
Georgia fan and grew to hate Matt Stafford.
yes, they always
Oh.
underperformed.
Saw that going differently.
Right, but
It's like the Lions.
this game does have an 81-degree temperature, and living in Georgia, and that's close to Jacksonville, I know it's pretty. It's gonna be throwing catch weather. It won't be running weather. But this game is weird. I just don't care for this. Like, this game is just too. Who cares on both sides? Like you said, Detroit's going to Detroit. Jacksonville's going to Doug Marrone.
I guess the real question is with this game is if you are a professional bettor like Tony Johnson and others who could have significant money on this, what side do you feel comfortable on? I mean, first of all, I don't really want to watch this game. I don't want to be forced to watch this game. And if I was putting money on this game, whose side do you take? Literally, can you literally take Jacksonville and be like, yeah, I feel good with a field goal? Or can you take Detroit and say, look, I think they can walk down to Jacksonville and win by 7 to 10 points? I don't feel good about either side. So
if I had a gun to my head and I had to pick either side,
you'd shoot
sadly,
twice.
I picked Detroit.
I would just shoot twice.
I have no play on this game, but I'm kind of thinking this could almost be a shootout. Both these defenses are kind of bad.
So on my show, a little sneak peek. Since I don't have any action on the spreads here, I've got Lions to win 28-21 or 35-28, so like a shootout, because I think it's going to be a passing game. Maybe the red zone defense for Jacksonville, like you said, steps up.
Yeah, maybe that gets the under going.
Right. Maybe Gardner Minshew steps up, but they beat the Colts, and that's the only thing Doug Marrone's riding on with his job right now.
Yeah, I gotta feel like he's probably gone in the new regime, especially if they end up in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that'll be an interesting
one. One last opinion about this game from me. I have a dark horse fantasy player of the week, and that's Hawkinson.
TJ.
Okay. Have fun with that one.
Yep. I project he'll have at least 1 touchdown, probably catch for at least 60 yards.
So Adrian Peterson, I believe, is back in the facility from his illness.
Mm-hmm.
So that could help the Lions, who rely on him pretty good.
Let's move on. All right, let's move on to Atlanta and Minnesota at this point. The Falcons are coachless at this point. Well, they're on the interim tag with Raheem Morris, who was a previous coach in Tampa. That didn't really work out.
Please.
Against the Minnesota Vikings, who, if Atlanta somehow wins this game, the Minnesota Vikings might be coachless with Mike Zimmer. They've moved to 1-5. They would all but be out in that division, especially a division where I have action on them to win that NFC North, and I cannot afford for them to lose to a team like Atlanta when they still got, 2 more against Chicago and 1 more against Green Bay. If anything's going to get righted right now, it's got to be this is the easy one you got to win. Matt Ryan I've said this 100 times. I'll say it 101 time. He's overrated.
My God.
He's not the guy. He's overrated. He's not a good quarterback. He will unfortunately go in the Hall of Fame because he's going to go in the Hall of Long Career and Statistics in a passing league, and that's unfortunate. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about Sunday. Minnesota -4, the total 54 at the Westgate right now at this point. Both teams are in trouble. I just feel like one of them doesn't really have any pressure on them anymore, and that's Atlanta, and that scares me as a backer of Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting how this interim coach kind of handles things, as well as handles like the play calling and how things are game managed. And that's one thing that kind of worries me if I were on Minnesota or even on this total. I have no idea what to expect out of that offense or even that defense. I know Julio is supposed to be back, and that's a big plus for Atlanta.
Right.
Minnesota is also desperate to win, too, on top of it. So, being the tough spot that they are in that division. So,
yeah, I think this is do or die for Minnesota. Again, not only for their division chances, but
it's
for
a
their
disaster
coach.
for.
I feel like they just signed him, too. Like, after the last season, I feel like they just signed him to an extension, but I don't think this is how the Minnesota ownership had this season going, Mike.
Yeah, so I'm first of all, I want to give credit to you guys for bringing up Mike Zimmer, who's looking at this game of 1-4 Minnesota versus 0-5 Falcons. While I do believe these two teams are better than their record suggests, I do think Mike Zimmer should be talked about. I don't think he's being talked about enough as being on hot seat. This is the Falcons.
Well, Adam Gase gets enough for everybody.
Amen. Amen. Falcons is their third NFC North game in 4 weeks, which is just shocking to me. So I think that's pretty interesting. Falcons, I think we're having COVID-19 issues, which is also weird.
Mm-hmm.
And Dalvin Cook is doubtful, which
he's out.
He's out.
He's out.
Oh, that's what I mean by you get it.
Yeah.
He's out. He's doubtful. But this game, 85% of people pick the Vikings, so apparently ESPN pick them. People love it. For what that's worth that's not money, but still. This game is, I don't know. This could be a really ugly game somehow. I don't know. Both teams just trying to throw up Cinderellas, and just one of these teams going to be either 1-5 or 0-6. And that's going to be sad.
Yeah, it's. I don't love anything about this pick. Again, no Dalvin Cook. You know, Todd Gurley's he's been running pretty good. He's not. I mean, he's averaging about 70 yards a game. It's not anything great. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like if Atlanta wins this game and if they win it by double digits, I think Zimmer could get us walking papers on Monday or Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pink slip.
We'll have to see about that. But you have to look at the other thing too. I don't know if it's just the NBA. I feel like it happens mostly in the NBA. But when a coach gets fired and the new guy comes in, I feel like it's almost betting wise an auto win. Like I don't know, like they're amped up for a new coach. I wouldn't want to. I could feel comfortable being on the +4 or even a money line there in that spot. I would not feel comfortable being on a Minnesota backer at home. I don't.
The Raheem Morris thing throws me off because I think he's been their defensive coordinator or whatever. Like that hasn't been good either. So I'm like, how did this dude get promoted? I don't know.
I think he's gotten promoted to the interim because he has head coaching experience. I think that's the only reason. And not to take a shot at Raheem Morris because that defense has not been able to stay healthy for however long, since the Super Bowl. They've got, what's his name? Ishmael's been hurt. Casey's been hurt. Deion Jones has been hurt. They got rid of Adrian Claiborne, I believe.
Tank McKinley got hurt again. So.
Tarek McKinley, yeah. Or Tank, whatever the hell his name is.
Tack,
yeah. They can't stay healthy. So I'm not jumping on the Raheem Morris bandwagon. I feel like I'm going to make a bold statement. I think the Atlanta Falcons beat the Minnesota Vikings this week by 3 points on a last-second field goal. They charge and throw Gatorade on Raheem Morris, and Mike Zimmer gets his walking papers Monday morning.
What color is the Gatorade?
Purple.
Hey, so Young Ho Koo would be the guy who kicks it, but according to commentators, it's like Young Wei. Oh my god!
It is Young Wei.
Very clever for his parents for doing so.
Yeah, he's a young ho. He gonna kick the game
Young
winner.
Wei.
I know a few young hoes.
He gonna kick it a long Young Wei and get it right through the uprights.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's actually a good pick, Aaron.
All right, Houston at Tennessee, another 1-4 team that is not performing pretty well, underachieving, I guess you can say. I was high on Houston as well, not looking good right now. But I tell you what, they have a chance to really crack a dent in this division right now if they can get a win versus the Tennessee Titans, who are coming off a huge blowout on the Bills on, was that Tuesday night?
Yes.
The first of many probably strangely scheduled games for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorites. The total is 53.5. Now, I have, 3 weeks ago now, I have started to slip a little bit on my love for Deshaun Watson. I still think he's probably that second tier of quarterback. He's not the guy at this point when everything seems to be crumbling in. They've already lost Bill O'Brien. The running game with David Johnson hasn't panned out. It's looking like the David Johnson for DeAndre Hopkins trade was a colossal failure at this point, which we all kind of knew anyways, but nothing's working. An elite quarterback, Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, even almost to a Big Ben in his prime, Tom Brady, would mask those things and still find a way to at least be 2-3 or 3-2 at this point. I'm still rooting for Deshaun, but I think that this is going to be a huge game to get them back, that momentum started. But right now, like I said, we've got Houston, the dog, on the road, Tennessee coming off a short week. I don't necessarily love the fact they are better on paper, but I don't necessarily love the fact that they are coming off a short week and have to play another team with a guy like Deshaun Watson who can kind of rough up a tired defense. We'll see.
Yeah, he can. He definitely keeps them on their toes and all that, especially Tennessee being on that short week. It might be tougher for Tennessee to stay on the game plan and not be running around with their head cut off in this situation. And Tennessee, actually, their first win against the spread this year was on Tuesday, actually. They were the first 3-0 team ever to go 0-3 against the spread to start the season.
Wow.
Yeah, now, Mike, let me ask you this. I mean, we talk about a short week of preparation. They seem to make light work of the Bills. So you're talking about one game where you blew out a team in 17, 18, 19, 20 days. That might not be as much of a disadvantage for Tennessee as we think.
So I'm going to be honest. The reason I stayed away from this game is because Deshaun Watson, despite being a turnover machine, is a gamer. Like, he can still bring back and just throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns for no reason. Tennessee, I feel like beating Buffalo might be of an outlier. I don't think Buffalo's as bad as 42-16.
Agreed.
I feel like Tennessee just had one of those games where they killed Baltimore, and they shouldn't have. It should have been a lot closer. Because basically, Buffalo, the game plan for Tennessee is play action passing after Derrick Henry steamrolls your throat, and Buffalo couldn't stop it, which makes no sense to me.
Speaking of, how far has Josh Norman fallen? He's turning from an elite quarterback to a tackling dummy. Did you guys see that on Tuesday night? When Derrick Henry literally threw him off the field? That was insane.
Yeah.
That was insane.
That's a big running back.
One thing with the Bills, though, in that game, they weren't sure until the morning of if they were going to play then or if they had to prepare for Thursday potentially.
That's very true.
This shit's really screwing with a lot of teams. You can't make decisions the morning of a game for these guys. You know, their rhythm, their schedule. I mean, yes, they're 20-something-year-old dudes, but they, you know, to go out there and put everything on the line. You know, you just found out 6 hours ago. Yeah.
There's a game plan that they try and implicate, and if you're trying to implicate 2 game plans for 1 week, possibly, it's not going to stick.
So, Tony, to your point, I think James Paxton, and along with others, but our own James Paxton of 12 on Sports has set a line on Twitter. He was like, you know, the NFL's idea of we'll just take COVID as it comes is a pretty stupid idea. Well, I don't understand why the Titans are testing positive with 30 people. They either play their game on a Tuesday. The Tuesday should never happen, in my opinion.
The thing I don't understand is how this isn't becoming even an individual city bubble. Like Toronto and Edmonton for the NHL were great. You know that they had 0 COVID tests out of 30-something thousand. Now, obviously, in the NFL, it's a little more difficult to get them all in one. I've jokingly but seriously made the suggestion of just building 10 football fields in Montana and letting them play out the year. But it's not sounding so bad. It's not sounding so bad anymore. But I mean,
5 outdoor and 5 indoor arenas.
How are these organizations not saying, "Hey, look, if you guys want to play, you had your chance to opt out, but this is what we're going to do. When you're not practicing, when you're not playing a game, when you're not traveling in sanitized, clean airplanes, you're in hotel rooms, a la NBA and NHL. Like, there's way too much money for this season to get shut down."
Bro, so 2 things. One, Daniel House of the Houston Rockets, for those who don't know, brought somebody into his room, into his hotel room, not even outside, into his hotel room, and could not play a basketball game. That's how strict the NBA was.
Mhm.
And to the NHL's point, NBA had 4 months without a COVID test.
Mhm.
The other thing was, the NFL has a problem, and this is the league where we're going to say, well, is this ring going to be flawed? Because the NBA, everything was on even keel. Everybody had the same situation. The NFL is going to have a bunch of COVID tests here, there, and everywhere. And I'm trying to figure out, like, how is this going to be a legitimate championship run for
Well,
anybody?
I'm fine with it being legitimate, but I think there's two things that need to happen at this point. They need to start considering, because they went backwards with it. They need to start, because they basically said, you guys can handle this on your own. And, we're not, basically we're not going to handle it, but we're also going to punish you if you can't handle it. So the other thing that needs to happen is they need to start sitting down in boardrooms immediately about bubbles for the playoffs, if they even get that far. So anyways, so that, let's getting back to the game here. Houston, Tennessee, I think we're going to have a good game. You talked about Carolina, Chicago. I think we're going to have another back and forth, maybe even last possession game here with this one. And although week one, he was absolutely abysmal, Stephen Gostkowski has saved his season and his career at this point. It's unfortunate. You hate to see it because he couldn't do that for about 3 years in his last 3 years in New England. So c'est la vie, I guess. All right, moving on to the New York Giants hosting the Washington football team.
Try not to get too excited about that.
Mike's excited.
No. Hey, I'm sorry, wait. Daniel Jones against who?
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
What do I know? Go on. Go ahead.
You know what? Don't be tooting your own horn on Daniel Jones. If there was a better option, he'd probably be benched too at this point.
Well, real quick, I read an article that's made a perfect point. They said if the Giants still go 0-16 and have a chance, of course they would take Trevor Lawrence. And even I would say Trevor Lawrence is better than Daniel Jones. But the article said if they can get a few wins and don't have to take Trevor Lawrence, then of course you roll with Daniel Jones. But obviously, Trevor Lawrence. Oh
I don't care
God.
what team you are. Even if you drafted a quarterback number 1 last year, if you go 0-16, you need to take Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, he's amazing.
I don't care who you are. Who was the number 1 pick last year? Who was it? Which quarterback was it?
Was it Kyler?
No, I'm sorry.
What?
Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow, if they go 0-16 or 0-15-1, fuck it. Take Trevor Lawrence. You take Trevor Lawrence. So anyways, all right, so the football team versus the Giants. Now, again, the Giants are 0-5, Washington's 1-4. Thank you very much for bringing up a point because I wanted to touch on this. The new Circa here in Las Vegas, which is opening up real soon, their sports book is already available, Circa Sports. They are offering a prop, and I've already bet one side. I'm contemplating betting the other side after this week. The New York Giants and the New York Jets are both 50-1 to go 0-16 this year. Not win a single game. Now, logic would have it that I'm probably going to lose that bet. But you know what? 50-1. I'll take it.
Did you take both sides or?
So far I have the Giants.
Okay, so here's the thing about that. One, I don't believe Adam Gase will last the season, so I'm not sure if a new head coach comes in, do they get a win for no reason. So that's why I was saying, I mean, like there's no way Adam Gase lasts this year. That's my point. The Giants, Daniel Jones could just throw a last-second touchdown, which he's capable of doing.
Well,
but I would much rather pick the Giants, though, like you said.
I agree. I mean, the Giants have lost 3 games by less than a touchdown. So they have been in games. I think they should have won the Chicago game, but that's neither here nor there.
Let's go.
The situation.
Even the Dallas game.
The reason I think, the Giants, the Dallas game too. The reason I think Adam Gase might last a year is they're still paying Todd Bowles. They're still paying Todd Bowles. So if they fire Adam Gase, they're now paying 2 coaches to go away and they're going to have to be paying 3 coaches. So if you fire Adam Gase, who, yes, has been a train wreck, do you have enough money to bring in anything of relevance to turn your program around? Or do you have to just go with another young, cheap guy and hope he's the next Sean McVay? That's the thing.
A young cheap guy, like them young hoes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, them young hoes. Can you really afford to be paying 3 coaches? I just don't think you can. So that's my argument for Adam Gase potentially lasting the season. Anyways, So, all right, let's move on to this Washington game. I don't think we've actually even touched on it yet here at this point. The Giants are 3-point favorites. The total is 43. I believe it's the lowest total of the week, and, obviously rightfully so. I would love to see Alex Smith get a win here, and obviously because I have the Giants going 0-16 at 50-1. I don't have action on this game, but if I was probably going to consider taking that 3 points here, taking a money line. Yeah, I mean, I was on the Danny Dimes train too, Mike. He just really can't hold on to the ball, and that's really a big issue. I mean, you think about who's the other famous name who couldn't hold on to the ball and was about to get cut until they turned around? Tiki Barber. That guy could never hold on to a football, about to get cut, and turns around and wins 2 Super Bowls. So holding on to the ball is paramount, and until he turns that around, I don't trust the Giants to really do anything positive. And Washington has shown, hey, we can only beat NFC East teams this year at this point. So, Token, what do you think about this game here?
It's a fucked up game with two fucked up quarterbacks, in my opinion. I mean, is Daniel Jones really that bad, or is that offensive line just horrendous that can't contain him in the pocket and he's under pressure all this time and all that?
I mean, run. He's got some legs,
and that's maybe something that they have to implement, or maybe piece together a little better offensive line moving forward, even if they move away from Daniel Jones. I mean, in my opinion, it's a shitty game. I don't even know if I want to look at the box score of this one at the end of the game.
So Saquon Barkley, to tell you how bad the offensive line is, had 6 more rushing yards in one of these games than I did, which is absolutely phenomenal considering he was healthy. So Giants' offensive line is really bad. I don't know if we can trust Devontae Freeman or Wayne Gallman. I personally believe Washington is a better football team than the Giants. But I'm actually I picked the Giants straight up to win the game, but it's like I feel like I would not be surprised if Washington won the game. But like you said, it's the F Bowl.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we spent far too much time on this game, so we'll move on. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I think this is the marquee matchup. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but I think 3 or all 4 of us are on this game. So this is going to be the one that's going to test us here as the Vegas Squares picks. Pittsburgh is a -3.5 point favorite. Against Cleveland, and the total is 51 at the Westgate at this point. The Browns have not won in Pittsburgh since 2003. They came very close a couple of times, but that is not a W. No one's talking about Ben Roethlisberger and the fact that he has come back like nothing ever happened. I mean, he's playing phenomenally. The Steelers' defense is incredible. James Conner is just running like a fucking Jim Brown at this point. He's having a great season so far. They've got their wide receiver, history. I mean, look at it. It speaks for itself. We got a new one, Chase Claypool, 4 touchdowns last week. They just seem to find a way. I liken them, even though they're a perennial and a marquee franchise, I liken them to the Rays. The Rays in baseball, they just draft incredibly well. And they find these guys, until they turn into Antonio Clown, they find these guys to just be team guys and just do it for the good of the team, and I don't know how long Ben Roethlisberger has left, but it would be nice to see him be a little competitive this year, maybe get a 3rd ring if he could, but he's playing incredibly well right now. For me, Pittsburgh, it feels like the trend is going to continue. I mean, Cleveland's 4-1. That's great. You want to talk about a team that's a deceptive 4-1. I think it's Cleveland at this point. I mean, they got destroyed by Baltimore. They barely beat the Bengals. They were in a game kind of with Washington. They pulled away. Dallas they did beat, but we're never really going to know what Dallas was this year. And so I don't know. To me, it just seems like my book is still out on the Browns, and although both defenses are good, I would probably lean towards the better defense being in the black and gold.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. I mean, even though Cleveland's front 4 is very strong, but that secondary of Pittsburgh is a lot stronger than that secondary of Cleveland. And I mean, like you said, Ben looks like nothing's even happened to him last year, let alone. I mean, it looks like he still has the experience. It looks like he's like almost a 30-year-old quarterback instead of, what is he, like 40 now?
Well, I mean, you look at this situation here with, that last year, them trading a first-round pick for Minka Fitzpatrick. Everybody's like, what? I mean, it's turned out to be a genius move. I think Mike Tomlin has, he's been on the hot seat allegedly a few times. I mean, Pittsburgh just doesn't fire coaches. I think last year and so far, this 20-game stretch has maybe been the best coaching job he's had, even with the Super Bowl
Yeah,
here.
I mean, you're right about that. I mean, I don't know what to make of Tomlin, but I think he's the right fit for Pittsburgh right now. And I mean, if nobody switches less head coaches than Pittsburgh, it's probably Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Not lately.
Yeah.
So, unlike our friends for the Vegas Squares, I did not touch this game, because granted, I think Pittsburgh's actually going to win. I think it's going to be a one-score game, but I think Pittsburgh's going to pull out a win here. I just want to toot my own horn here. My own horn here.
Toot your young ho.
Yes. So I said before the season, and I believe I was on your NFL preview show talking about this too. The Browns were going to make the playoffs. Big Ben was going to be fine. Steelers defense was going to be a top 5 team, and James Conner was going to have a good year if he stayed healthy. So I love this game. I believe Steelers will win, and they should win. I think the only reason the Browns have actually been getting more wins because Odell Beckham Jr. finally likes to play in Cleveland. Maybe that's Kevin Stefanski.
For now.
But he's doing a really good job the last couple of weeks. I think it comes to a screeching halt. I think Steelers are going to make them pretty ugly in this game.
If he even plays this week, he's left practice the last 2 days. So
I didn't know that.
We'll see if he even plays this week. Real quickly, I want to touch on this for about 30 seconds. Spike made a sweeping declaration that the NFC West was the worst division in football.
I don't know where he came up with that.
I don't know where he did. But I think the other 3 of us all said that they might be the best. The question now is that maybe it's the AFC North.
I said the AFC North was a good division.
Top 3 teams are 13-2 right now. Now I know the Bengals. Yep. They're at the foundation, laying the foundation at this point.
They've been competitive.
That's fair, and they've tied. Token's favorite thing.
Every time matters.
Yeah. ties matter. All right, Baltimore and Philadelphia. Speaking of the AFC North, this is an interesting matchup too. Don't know what to make of Philadelphia. Just when you write them off, they go and beat the 49ers. I don't care if Garoppolo really wasn't a factor there or in the game there. But they are home dogs here in this spot against Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. Yes, the Ravens are 4-1 at this point.
Yes.
But like you said, the only teams they've really shined against are the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought they were in a game against Washington, which is crazy to think. And they got their doors blown in against Kansas City. But 9.5 points, Philadelphia is a home dog at this point. The 46.5 total at Westgate right now seems a little low. This signals to me that Philadelphia might show up and play some defense today.
Yeah, that's what this line kind of represents. And if anybody knows Baltimore winning games, especially against the spread, they produced 3 more times of margin of victory than the next closest team. So they've been blowing out by 15 their opponent compared to the next closest, which I believe is around 5 in games. So, and that's probably why this line is.
Well, they definitely have that ability to do that.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. They did it to Houston. They eventually stepped on their throats. They did it to Cleveland this year. So they definitely have the ability to win a game, 46-4 at this point. But I don't know.
That'd be a hell of a score. So
that would be. But it's Philadelphia. They're so hard to crack. I told you, Betting on Philadelphia is like betting on Jay Cutler back in the day. When I think he's
Ah.
motivated, he's going to shit the bed and doesn't give a fuck. When I think I've written them off, they show up and win a game and they shouldn't have. So, thoughts on that the Birds matchup here, Mike?
So that's the Birds Bowl. So number one, Jay Cutler has never motivated a squirrel. I don't know. That's just
No, I'm not
crazy.
saying he motivates people, but every once in a while he gets motivated to actually play a game of football.
Fair. I think Ravens win the game. I don't have any action on this game. I think Carson Wentz, who just played the Steelers last week. I believe the Steelers, they picked him off twice. I can see Carson Wentz throwing another interception, maybe not two, another interception. I think Ravens should control this game very easily. I think 9.5 is actually kind of low.
Wow. All right. The Denver Broncos traveling east to the New England Patriots. Another 9-point spread here. New England is favored at home. 44.5 is the total. This is an interesting one because we're supposed to get Drew Lock back, from what I understand, this week.
Cam Newton will play too, I believe, is what I read.
Yes.
So I'm a little shocked to see 9 points. I think this is a little high in my opinion, especially with them getting their starting quarterback back. But what do I know? I mean, the Cam Newton-led Patriots have played pretty well, and even the Cam Newton non-led Patriots, I mean, they held their own against Kansas City, I would say, for 3.5 quarters. So if Lock goes, I think this line is too high. So if you're feeling Denver at this spot and you feel like Lock's going to go, grab that 9 right now because I think that might come down 2-3 points. So, Token, what do you think about this game?
No, I mean, that's a fair assessment that if Lock is pronounced as starter or like even a game time decision, this line will move a little. And I really like New England's defense still, in my opinion, especially in this game. I think Denver's going to have a hard time against this defense and
Agreed.
might even put up a nothing in this spot.
I'll take the over on a 0.5 point.
I'm not saying I would bet it at this point. What odds would you give me, though?
I'll give you 10-1 on $5 on a shutout.
I'll consider.
Oh, shut up. That's a good line. All right. Well, we also have Philip Lindsay coming back and Melvin Gordon maybe coming back. You know, he got a DUI on Tuesday. They called
Hey, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're calling it an illness at this point. His status on the injury report is illness, but that's just brown bottle fever. Anybody who's had a hangover for 4 days.
Wow.
So
I think he's doubtful, in my opinion.
yeah, more than likely it's just going to be the Philip Lindsay show at that point. So, Mike, your thoughts on this game? What once used to be a marquee matchup still has some flair to it.
It's flairful, but I 100% agree with Token on this. I didn't pick action. If I would pick action on this game, it would be under 44.5 because I do believe Patriots will win this game like 24-10 or something like that, or like 21-10. I don't think this game even touches 44. I think it's going to be a nasty game, especially if Cam Newton plays. I think that Patriots are going to play their little slow running attack, smash you in the face, and just pull
Slap
off
you around a little.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the other thing you have to consider is a Western team traveling east. We've talked about that for 3 years now. You know, even with Drew Lock, you know, they're going to be playing a game at 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, with their body clock. That generally never goes well for teams. So that might be why the spread is high, even if Drew Lock stays in. I'm curious to see if Drew Lock is named the starter, if this line moves or where it moves to. Obviously, it's going to move down, but I don't know if it may not. I don't know. We'll see. So.
I would definitely take the under, like not 9. I was like 6 or 7, but
I was thinking 7 if he's named the starter.
I had 24-17 as my straight up score. So yeah.
All right, fair enough. Let's move into that last of the 10 o'clock games here at this point, 10 o'clock Pacific, and talk about Cincinnati at Indianapolis. We just talked about Joe Burrow, who's been playing well for a rookie. Like I said, a lot of his weapons have been hurt. You know, he's still kind of learning the offense. He's going up against Indianapolis, who has been surprisingly better, with all due respect, than I was going to give them credit for. I mean, they are 3-2. I probably had them around a 7-9, 8-8 team. So they're really trending that way, but they play great defense. Phillip Rivers is just at some point, Mike, I know you're a Colts fan. At some point, Phillip Rivers will fuck you.
Dude, I'm so tired. I was actually very happy to hear about Sam Darnold to Indianapolis. I don't know who said the rumor. I was, hey, cool. We can get rid of Phillip Rivers before the season even ends. I said before the season started on the show with you guys that I thought the Colts had to play well in their first 8 games, and 3-2 is but Phillip Rivers has definitely done his best impression of stat padding turnover machine. Rodrigo Blankenship has got the most field goal made and most field goal attempts. We have had so many red zone BS stupidness. Oh my God. I love Hot Rod, but my God.
Should have kept Eric Ebron.
So, yes.
Yeah.
All right, Cincinnati is a 7-point dog traveling to the Drum, and the total is 46.5 at the Westgate here. Token, your thoughts?
I like you said, how do you trust Rivers in this spot? I mean, he's got.
Well, I've told you this before for 2 years now.
Yeah.
I do not trust Phillip Rivers laying a touchdown.
Yep.
I will never trust Phillip Rivers laying a touchdown.
Exactly. And even against a Bengals team, I mean, the Bengals are actually fighting somewhat for some
Weird
pride
reason.
in all that, at least. I mean, Burrows is kind of fighting. I mean, you got Tyler Boyd, you got Joe Mixon even. I mean, this Colts defense isn't even that great anyhow. I mean, I would feel almost more confident if Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback in this situation.
Thank you.
How do you really feel, Mike?
You know what? I have action in this game. I think Token may have just convinced me not to have action. Listen, we're good against the run because Joe Mixon, could be a factor, but I think we're going to stuff him. I think this is going to be a 1-score game, and Joe Burrow's going to try to score late, and then maybe it'll be tied, or maybe it'll end in a tie. I don't know.
There we go. I like it.
He loves
Good
the
morning,
ties.
Aaron.
I actually think a game is going to tie this week, but however, I don't think it will be this one.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's move on to that aforementioned Battle of the Bays. Now, I can't remember the last time these two teams played each other, but I remember back in the day growing up, this was such a matchup between Favre and the Packers and that defense in Tampa that had Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Simeon Rice, among others, Rondé Barber and stuff. I remember these matchups, especially the ones in Lambeau where it was pouring down snow, and Brett Favre is he's on another level. I liked that guy. But now we've got Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. That's not something I think a lot of people would have said in a Green Bay-Tampa Bay matchup. But this game, drum roll please, is a pick'em.
Woo! Awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Totals
surprised it moved
55
to
and a
that.
half. Pick'em. This game started out Tampa Bay a 3-point favorite. Now remember those opening lines are months, before the season, or even a month before the season, depending on the COVID, how that all affected everything. But,
and also early in the week, though, it was 2.5. Green Bay was favored.
That's true. It moved all the way actually to Green Bay. Yeah, -3, -2.5, -1. In some spots, it is -1. Actually, most of the other spots. But we use the Westgate lines, and it is a pick'em.
Pick'em.
So, with that being said, again, I am looking forward to another classic Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady matchup. Tom Brady has, in the past, seemed to get the best of him during those times we played. You can hold that up all you want. Actually, you need to go like this because that's how many rings Brady has.
More than the Lions will ever have, so.
There is only 2 games in this late slate, and let's be honest, we're not really looking forward to watching the other one. So I'm jazzed up for a 125 matchup here between Tom and Aaron.
The game of the week entirely, in my opinion. Nothing I like more than this two key quarterbacks going at it. I mean, you got Green Bay explosive offense. You got Tampa Bay. A lot of people still somewhat reasonably high on their defense. And I know, Aaron, you said that Tampa's defense not looking the best.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I was high on them. I'm like, I have not been high on them at all.
I know. And I agree with you. I was somewhat a little high on them earlier in the year, but I wasn't crazy about them like New England or even.
It was just the weirdest thing. In
Yeah.
2019, they were first against the run and dead last against the pass. You don't see that very often.
No, it's tale of two defenses, and it's ugly.
Well, Mike, prepare to be surprised because I will tell you this later on in the show. This game, some form of bet in this game is in my big teaser this week. So, how do you feel?
I like it.
I do have a surprise. It's actually my 6th pick of the week. Since it is a pick 'em.
Yeah.
All I'll say right now, because I don't want to lean one way or the other. Look at the little doggy. All I'm going to say right now is Devontae Adams and Chris Godwin, I believe, are both playing.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. I'll tell you guys who I think is going to win later.
I'm excited, hopefully, to see. Remember what we talked about a couple weeks ago, Token, about maybe seeing if anybody would offer a total of 100 on that Ravens-Chiefs game?
Yes.
I'd love to see this thing touch 100, 55-54, something like that. Like a missed 2-point conversion fucks everything up.
Right.
This would be the game of the week to have football squares on for sure.
It's true. Even if you have the weird numbers,
Yeah, exactly. You could definitely see a safety. You could probably see a punt return possibly for a touchdown. Maybe even a Cook return for a touchdown. Something weird like that. And just make a odd, weird number that might not even happen before in NFL history.
All right, I'll make a fun prediction. Tom Brady leads a comeback drive in the fourth quarter, passes the game-winning touchdown to Chris Godwin. I'll take that.
Okay. I like that you said Godwin more than Evans, just because I think Evans might be a basket case and might get ejected from the game.
Oh.
Interesting. All right, fair enough.
Which wouldn't be the first game he's been ejected from.
That is true. He was just defending his quarterback, though.
And
all
he
right.
should have been ejected the season earlier.
The other game that we're playing at 1 o'clock Pacific time is the Jets and the Dolphins. Why is this a late game? I don't understand it, unless there's something going on in Miami that needs to push this game back. The Jets and the Dolphins. Miami, a 9-point favorite at the Hard Rock against the Jets, and a total of 47. Miami just whitewashed San Francisco. I don't care how decimated they are. I did not see that coming. Miami, we're seeing Fitzmagic here, Token, right now at this point.
You.
We're seeing Fitzmagic. He is holding off to blah, 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 as long as he can.
And it might be postponed another week, and maybe even more so.
That's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
real quick. I have action on this game. I will not say what it is. Just know that Fitzmagic is back. The last 2 weeks he's played well against Jacksonville and San Francisco. San Francisco is not good right now. Also, shout out Miami, who is also in the Le'Veon Bell sweepstakes for no reason at all.
Fair enough.
From what I understand, Miami was only in the Le'Veon Bell sweepstakes because they were the only one to offer him a multi-year deal, is what I understand.
Stupid.
Yeah, I agree. It is stupid.
You know what? And we'll touch on him here when we get to the Kansas City game. Actually, you know what? We can touch on him here real quick now because I don't think we have a ton to talk about with the Miami and the Jets game. But I feel like we talked about this last year that he sat out the season prior and it seemed to only be about money. And then he signed with a team that we know was going to be terrible in a city that has a freaking almost 40% tax rate because of the state and federal income tax. And he played this all wrong. Like, if it was all about money, sign with the Texas team. Go sign with the freaking Houston Texans. They needed a running back. It made no sense to me. He has played this all wrong.
So, Token, allow me real quick, and I'll
Go
give it for you. So, Le'Veon Bell is still – and here's why I'm going to give pause to people who are saying, is Le'Veon Bell still good? I mean, I believe –
I never said he wasn't good.
But – I feel like he's getting a bad rep because he did play a lot like an absolute – like he was blind playing poker. It was bad.
Okay.
But I want to look at the people that have since Adam Gase has let some people go. Ryan Tannehill, Kenyon Drake, Minka Fitzpatrick, Robbie Anderson are all excelling right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if Le'Veon Bell comes into Kansas City and just shows out like he did in Pittsburgh.
I don't doubt that. I mean, I know Andy Reid over Adam Gase is going to be the one to find a way to get Bell involved in this game, especially now he can mentor the rookie. They got a two-headed monster again. I mean, could you imagine if Kareem Hunt could have stayed healthy with Clyde Edwards-Helaire or any of that stuff?
Gosh.
Or not stayed healthy, but stayed out of trouble, stayed out of legal trouble. Anyway,
Right?
point being is, I'm not saying
That would've
Le'Veon
been
Bell
sick.
is bad.
Stayed out of
Token.
elevators. Stayed out of elevators.
Yeah. Token, I'm not saying Le'Veon Bell is bad. I'm just saying the last 24 months of his decision-making, like, I don't know who gave him advice, but he took – if it was all about money, we said this. If it was all about money, sign in Florida, Texas, or even sign with Las Vegas.
Yeah, because I mean, last year would have been in California, but however, that would have been only 1 year.
I mean, he spent the year off in Miami when he held out. He could have just stayed with the Dolphins at that point.
He just got too greedy, in my opinion, and was gambling on himself and definitely failed at it.
Well, he got the contract. I just didn't understand. You could have gotten that same contract in Miami and saved another. Let's see. Miami's got no state income tax. The federal tax would be 28 to 30%. So you'd have saved yourself. I think the state income tax in New York is like 10 to 12. You saved yourself 12% of that contract. It just didn't make any sense to me.
And you could have gotten more with the year that you'd have played, probably too.
Also true. He was on the tag for another $14 million.
He easily cost himself 20 to 40 million.
Probably closer to 20, but still, that's $20 million for a guy who literally was all about the cash. So it didn't make any sense to me. So anyways, let's just gloss over that New York Jets-Miami game. Again, Fitzmagic, if he can stay, he's going to keep holding off Tua. We got to move on here to the late game Sunday, LA and San Francisco. LA is a 3-point road favorite against a depleted San Francisco team, which we've mentioned before. The total is 51.5 in this spot. I've seen a lot of square money go in on LA in this spot. So far, the early money seems to be pushing LA at this spot. But again, open the season, we had the defending NFC champions with Garoppolo, with a healthy Bosa, etc. They were the 3-point favorites. Life has turned around a full 180 in San Francisco. But it's a division game. It's 3 points. It's on prime time. The Billy Simmons theory here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you listen, it's like 80% over the last decade that a home team getting, was it 1.5 to 3.5 or something?
It's
like
3
that.
or more on prime time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Three or more on prime time is like 80% to cover.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, and I mean, in my opinion, I favor the LA Rams in this one. I'm not sure to cover the 3. No play on this one, but I'm more confident in the Rams' coaching abilities as well as difference makers that are actually healthy right now.
Bro, I got the Rams to win the game. I've got action on this game later, but I've got Rams to win the game. I think Sean McVay is saving his job right now.
They got to keep winning because Seattle keeps winning. So
yep.
That's kind of the thing here. All right, moving on to the Monday night games. We get 2 of them, which is exciting. We'll start with the first one. Kansas City at Buffalo. We know about the whitewashing that Buffalo received at the hands of Tennessee on Tuesday. We've all said Buffalo's not as bad as that game, and Tennessee is not as good as that game because they had 2 weeks off to prepare for it. Kansas City, a 4.5-point road favorite at the Westgate. Total 57.5. Big number here in this spot. Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been playing well. I mean, he's not been playing on Pat Mahomes' level. A buddy of mine asked me today if Pat Mahomes never played another game, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
I said no.
I would say no, but that's a good question.
That's an interesting argument. I mean, I think just for the fact that you literally said yes and I said no right off the bat, I mean, I think that makes for a good debate for another podcast. But anyways, we got Kansas City on the road coming off that loss to the Raiders, looking to get back on track, Token.
Yeah, definitely a hell of a one to watch. I mean, this could have implemented many playoff scenarios change whether one side wins or another. and potentially even the one team that gets a bye is the winner of this game. So
It's true.
Right. I believe last week the Bills obviously had, like I said, had an outlier of a game. Also, I do believe the Chiefs playing their division rival. Every team in the AFC West plays the Chiefs well. I don't care how good they are. I don't know what's been the
It's their
AFC
Super Bowl.
West. AFC West is like the old NFC West of like 2010s where the guys would just beat up on you like in 9-6 kind of games. I think Chiefs are going to win, but I've got action on this game that you guys are going to love.
sweet.
All right, fair. Yeah, I think that one's going to be good. Leading up to a game that we get the Arizona Cardinals against the now Andy Dalton-led Dallas Cowboys. We all talked about this when Andy Dalton signed. We did a whole podcast about it and said that we think that at some point Andy Dalton will see action in this season, and we're going to get him for, 11 weeks at this point now?
More than likely, yeah.
But Dallas has moved from a 3-point favorite to a 1-point dog at home. Arizona -1, totals 55 right here. I'm just going to say this first. I think Dallas is going to be all right.
I kind of agree. I mean, in my opinion, having that line change 4 points is outrageous. In my opinion, I mean, I can understand a point or two. In my opinion, Dalton started last year in the NFL with a mediocre-ish team. He's got plenty of weapons in Dallas.
10 years in the league too.
Yeah, plenty of experience, plenty of weapons on offense. Easily a top 5 offensive line to go with it.
Well, he's
top
missing a
5
few
running
pieces,
back
yeah.
to control the game management and all that. If Dallas doesn't win, something's wrong with them.
Mike McCarthy looked absolutely – he looked like he was about to break down crying too when Dak Prescott went out. It just seemed like he didn't want to ever go to Andy Dalton. I think Dak was playing at a phenomenal level. Like he was hitting everything. They were in shootouts because of Dak. I know they were down because of Dak, but I don't feel like Andy Dalton is the gamer and the big-time thrower they're going to need for the Michael Gallups or the CeeDee Lambs of the world. I think they got to rely on Zeke more so than ever now.
Well,
I think he'll be fine, but I don't know if they're going to keep putting up 40 points a game.
No, but I think they're going to be in a situation where the defense is really what needs to continue to play. They've got injuries on that side of the ball, but Andy Dalton is going to be that game manager. Give the ball to Zeke when it comes time. And I think that you talked about Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. They're not going to be the burners. They're going to be running routes. They're going to be trying to get open in defensive coverage. I think Andy Dalton's got all the weapons he wished he had in Cincinnati for, anybody to compliment freaking AJ Green for 6 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's two things here that I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see how Dalton plays, and I'm real interested to see if he plays well. They hand him a 4-year deal and let Dak walk.
I would love to see that happen. I mean,
I'm not wishing that on Dak Prescott, but it would not shock me. And I will tell you, there will be some activists, should you say, that will come out of the woods to shit all over that. If Andy Dalton gets 4 years at $60 million total, like $15 million a year, and they let Dak walk.
He went to TCU.
He went to TCU. He's from that area, being at home. He's, 32 years old, spent his last 4 years.
That's what scares me the most about that.
It will not
He
shock
is
me.
from Texas.
It will not shock me. Well, Kyler Murray's from Texas too, but it will not shock me if Andy Dalton is the starter in 2021 for this Dallas Cowboys, or someone not named Dak Prescott.
Agreed. I mean, I think if Dalton even produces somewhat decent numbers.
Well, the sick thing is he can get this team to the playoffs at like 8-8.
Maybe even more.
Or even, I wouldn't say, I don't want to say
6-10. 6-10.
It's totally possible.
They're looking like that.
In that division, yes.
They are 2-3, and they are the division leaders right now. They were set to host a playoff game if the season ended today.
But I believe it was myself, and I believe it was Tony Johnson that may have said it. I said that I believe Dallas was going to wrap it up by week 16. If Andy Dalton is as consistent as he can be, Oh, I think Dallas wraps it up easily.
Dude, if they can go on a 6-game winning streak and be 8-3, they might wrap it up by week 13.
It's over. Yeah. It's over.
I mean, it's really just
Easily,
Philly
yeah.
at this point. I mean, it may be Philly with their, what are they, 1-2-1 or 1-3-1?
1-3-1, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anyways, all right. So we got a few minutes left in the show. We got to go quickly, so we will recap the picks. Mike, since you're the guest picker, we'll let you go. We'll let you go first. Just give us the rundown of your picks, my friend.
Panthers will expose Chicago as the frauds that they are. They will win by more than 1.5. The LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers will go under 51.5. The Miami Dolphins will win by more than 9.5 against the Jets. I'm sorry, Sam Darnold. The Chiefs and the Bills will go over 57.5. And Denver and New England will go under 44.5. And my surprise pick, I just threw this in there. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will beat the Buccaneers. I don't care what the score is. Let's go, Rodgers. He's playing so much better than Tom Brady, and nobody cared about because 6 rings. Listen, Rodgers is going to win the game.
All right, I am going to read my picks and Spike's picks, and Spike is not joining us on the podcast this week. Since Spike is in the lead with 15 points, I will read his down first. He has the Browns plus 3.5 points. He has the Bengals and Colts staying under that 46.5 point total. The Cardinals -1 has to push it to 1.5. He says the Cardinals will beat Dallas by 1.5 or more points. And the Bears, he disagrees with you there, Mr. Caravallis. He says the Bears will cover that 1.5 point spread. And Kansas City v. Buffalo, he disagrees with you again. He says that total will stay under the 57.5 points. And since Token, you are in second place, I will let you read yours, and then you can read Tony Johnson since he's in third, and I'll bring up the rear here with the final pick. So everybody knows which ones to fade.
All right, so fade token segment. Get your pens and pads ready. So
fade token at your peril. He's got 14 out of 25, which means he's 14-9 this year.
Yeah, 14-11.
Yeah, 14-11. Excuse me.
Yeah,
math is hard.
Yeah, I'm going to start out with Cincinnati getting the 7.5 in this one. I think even if they're down by 2 scores in this one, Burrows is good enough to get the garbage time touchdown to cover. So, but I can see this being a game as well. So I like it plus the 7.5. Over 47.5, the Jets and Dolphins. Dolphins offense can produce and produce quick. And Jets not having Bell could definitely easily help in that one. So over 55.5 in Arizona and Dallas. See not much change with the offense in Dallas for sure. Under 50.5 with Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I think both these defenses will keep the game managed and keep both these offenses out of the end zone.
Love it.
And then my last one, which is my bankroll dump of the week, is going to be Carolina -1.5.
Yes, go!
Especially since Spike's on the other side. So
yeah, and Tony Johnson's picks. He currently sits at 9 points.
Yep. So he's 9-16 on the year. He's on the opposite side of the Carolina Bears game as me and Mike as well. He's got the Bears plus the 1.5. He's got Pittsburgh laying the 3.5 in this kind of tough division game. We got him with the under 46.5 with the Ravens and Eagles. He likes the unders in a lot of the games usually, and doesn't surprise me. Under 55.5 with the Bucks and Packers. A lot of still people high on the Bucks defense for some reason, even against this Packers offense. And then the Jets covering the 8.5 against the Dolphins.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got to say that was probably my 6th pick. I just, I didn't feel comfortable. I couldn't lay the 9, but I definitely didn't feel good with the other 9. So, or I guess 8.5 with our movement. All right, I am bringing up the rear. I'm 7-18 currently. I have 7 points in this, but I'm ready to turn it around. I'm ready to get up to 12. I'm going 5-0 this week because I'm the only one who has an 0-5. and I had to put $5. I had to put $15 in the jar. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's go here. I am rolling with you boys with those Carolina Panthers. I am on the Panthers -1.5. I am going to ride or die, captain this ship as it sinks all year with the Houston Texans. I'm taking the 3.5 points. Steelers, me and TJ are similar sides here. I think Steelers by a touchdown here, so I'll lay that 3.5 points. I will take the Cowboys. They are +1, so I'll move it to that half. I actually am liking this spot because a couple people are on the Cardinals, so I would love a Cardinals 1-point win if that could happen, or a Dallas win would be great because that would be really good for me and really bad for Spike.
Well, it's only +0.5, right?
Yeah, it is +0.5.
Yeah.
So a tie or a Dallas win.
Man, fuck your
Yeah.
ties, dude. Fuck your ties.
Well, no, you said
you said
Arizona
Cardinals
winning
won.
by 1.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Fuck me. Well, Dallas is going to win that game outright. I'm already feeling that.
I like that opinion. Yeah.
You're right. That's a fair assessment. I don't know how to count. Math is hard again.
This is why you win last.
And to go with Spike and to go against our guest picker, I am on that under 57.5 Buffalo v. Kansas City. I feel like anytime we get those kind of matchups, both teams play good defense.
Yeah.
And I thought they'd touch 100 in that Baltimore KC game. They barely touched 50. So I'm going to roll that same mindset into this Monday night game. All right, so we've got just about 5 more minutes left in the show here, so we're going to go quickly through Token Tony's DFS lineup, and then I've got your William Hill 14-point teaser before we sign off.
Yeah, so this week, as always, with Yahoo, hopefully Yahoo doesn't shit the bed like they did with golf this week and just null and void everything. And so $200 budget, like always. I'm going to go with the dark horse quarterback of the week, and that is
Andy Dalton.
Magic.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
For $31, I definitely see value in that one for sure. And then moving on to running back, we got 2 of them. We got Madison of the Vikings, because Cook's out easily. I picked him up in both my fantasy leagues, and I expect him to perform very well this week. I'm not sure if he'll get over 100, but he'll sniff right around that number.
I think he'll get 102 touchdowns this week.
I would gladly take that, and for only $14, definitely a big plus. And then Mike Davis, even against the Chicago defense, I expect him to perform very well and get around that.
A little more ballsy play there.
Yeah.
It is, but it's definitely one of the better options that I saw with matchups with defense. And then moving on, we got this one kind of surprised me in a way, but not necessarily really, is Crowder for the Jets against the Dolphins. I do think he might get one in the end zone, if not get a few long passes.
That's all they got.
Well, for 23, I definitely see some value with him, especially if he is the leading receiver of this matchup.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
yeah. And then moving on to the Rams against San Francisco, I definitely like Woods, especially for this value. I mean, for only $19 for him out of the $200 budget, all day, every day, he's been probably the biggest target of the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on, this one's kind of a dark horse for me, but Cincinnati's secondary defense is kind of weak. So I kind of went with T.Y. Hilton on a flyer. I don't see many people being on him, so it's a chance to gain edge against the public for sure.
Yeah, he's had a
And for
tough
only
season
14.
so far.
Yeah.
Pete's power
And then
plays too.
Yeah. And then my dark horse tight end of the week, if not dark horse player of the week, is T.J. Hawkinson of the Detroit Lions.
Boo.
I don't know. Yeah. About once a year, a Lions tight end has a magical game, and this week is the week for Hawkinson. So, and only for $19, definitely one of the better options for tight end this week. Derrick Henry as my flex for 35 against even the Houston defense, but that Houston defense is pretty shitty except for Watt, in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean, once they got rid of Clowney, that was pretty much that end of that strong defense containing running backs.
Philip
And
Rivers so
then,
bad.
yeah, talking about defense, this one might get the shutout this week, and that is the Patriots against Denver.
All right, so since Token took up all of those 5 minutes, I got about 20 seconds here to give you the William Hill 14-point teaser. I am currently 1-2. I did not put a teaser in the podcast for the last 2 weeks because, like I said, we took a little bit of a hiatus. So we're back. We're looking to get 500 in this one. So you boys are ready. Write this down. Again, 4 teams. You're moving the line 2 touchdowns. So we should be hitting these. I am moving the Panthers from -1.5 to +12.5. I think they get that done at home, and I'm really not even sure I need all 12.5 points since I think they're going to win. I am taking the Falcons from +4 to +18. They have lost a lot of games this year, all 5 of them, but they have been in them. So I'm thinking 18 points is probably good. I am taking the Jets. Remember, I did not like that +9, but if you give it to me at +23, I don't think Miami's going to blow 2 teams out in a row. Now, I know San Francisco's better than the Jets, but I just don't smell 2 blowouts for a mediocre team. I'm sorry, the Dolphins still aren't that good to me. And my last pick, I am taking the Green Bay Packers from -1, which is on William Hill, is what I had, to +13. So if you can find them at a pick 'em, you can take them to +14. But I will take the Green Bay Packers, arguably the best quarterback playing right now, not named Russell Wilson, and I will take approximately 2 touchdowns in protection there. So that is the 14-point teaser. Just to recap it here again: Panthers +12.5, Falcons +18, Jets +23, and Packers +13. You know I don't like crossing the zeros, but I feel like anything between 1 and 2 points, crossing a zero is not too terrible in that spot. So, all right.
Okay.
That's going to wrap it up here. Again, we want to thank those quick sponsors, 12-Ounce Sports Network, Vice Golf, Fanatics, and Zingo that we were thanked in the beginning. Obviously, those are our title sponsors. Please support them. Sign up for your new account at Zingo. Please shop our promotional links at Fanatics and Vice Golf. And also support us over at 12-Ounce Sports Network and support all the shows, including Mike Said It First on Tuesdays and Sundays. We also have other sponsors. Our newest sponsor, InTheHoleGolf.com. Again, at In The Hole Golf, you will find the latest and most innovative golf clubs, training ads, practice equipment, GPS, accessories, and much more in the golf industry. InTheHoleGolf.com. They do strive to be the golf enthusiast #1 resource for anything on the internet in golf. Wicked Cuts Jerky. I know Token loves this. If you're tired of the same old bag of bland beef jerky, then grab a bag of Wicked Cuts today. The most tender jerky you can get your hands on. They got the new flavors, which I know that
Go.
That's not Wicked Cuts. Come on.
I know. I don't have a bag right next to me, but
The 2 new flavors that we've tried so far: Applewood Smoked Bacon Jerky and the Carolina Killer. That shit was hot. If you want to pick up a bag today, please go to Wicked Cuts. Shut the fuck up. Go to wickedcuts.co and use the promo code SQUARES20 to get 20% off at checkout. Also want to thank DC4L Custom Tees. If you've always had an idea for a t-shirt but do not want to order hundreds of them to get a fair price, DC4L has changed the game. 0 design fees. Put your idea in any one of their great apparel options with no fees, no bulk order requirements. Visit the website today at DC4L Custom Tees and tell them the Vegas Square sent you. ChaiPoker.com. Obviously, when they get back up and running, we will let you know with their charity tournaments. They are on the East Coast now, over in the great state of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Also, Pro-Am customizations. Just a reminder, customized golf clubs are not just for pro players. They are for everyone at Pro-Am Custom. The only limit is the imagination. Message Pro-Am on Instagram to get started. Let them know the Vegas Square sent you. Their Instagram tag is at Pro-Am Customs. That's about it. We've paid the bills. We've given you some picks. Hopefully, we're going to make some money to take your nice girlfriend, wife, fiance, significant other, or just some chick you met on Tinder.
Or just your young way.
Your young Hui Koo. You're going to take your young Hui Koo out to a steak dinner this weekend. So, again, tail us or fade us. We say it every week, but that choice is yours. We appreciate you guys listening and watching. For Token Tony, for Spike, for Tony Johnson. Obviously, we want to thank Mike Said It First. Where can we find you on Twitter here real quick?
MKADHD.
MKADHD. You can find Mike on Twitter. You can get in contact with him. He always responds to everybody. So please engage with Mike. Again, for Mike Carvallis from Mike Said It First and the rest of the 12-ounce shows, we appreciate you tuning in. Catch you on the next one. Good luck on your bets.